Hey, I'm Ayuma Michelle, and welcome to Let's with Ayuma. This is an online safe space that I started to empower progressive women just like you and I, wherever we are all around the world, to thrive with purpose. Today, I'm going to talk about how to empower your business with your personal story. How to empower your business with your personal story. But before we go any further, you know what time it is? Please hit the subscribe button if you like my content so far. And if you're new to this channel, welcome. Thank you so much. I've noticed that I've reached 160 subscribers. Thank you so much for following me on my journey. If you're new on this channel, welcome. Please watch this video and watch another one. And if you dig it, subscribe. Okay? So, there's a woman who actually sent me a question, right? And I read, I feel like most stories touch on personal lives. This is what she wrote. I feel like most stories touch on personal lives, while I'm looking more to tell the business story while keeping my personal life private. This is a question that I receive from many business women, and especially the women who reached out to me are normally SME founders, small and medium enterprises founders, right? And so many of them normally tell me, how can I tell my business story without including myself? How can I talk about my business without talking about myself? Or how can I separate myself from my business and just so that people just focus on my business? And a quick response to that is, why not? Why not include yourself in your business? Because you're the one who started it. You're the one, you are in fact your personal story, and you are the unique value proposition. You are the thing and the person, the unique thing that makes people come and vouch for and invest in your business. So why not include yourself into this enterprise that you've put in your sweat to build? Why would you want to separate yourself with this amazing enterprise that you're building? That is a quick response that I would have, but then I'll have a few points to just share with you to validate why I say that. Well, you see, I have worked with business people, with a couple of business people, and they actually, because that's part of my services, right? Whether I'm offering brand storytelling or feminine leadership or even keynote speaking or strategic storytelling. And the reason why I offer these services is because I notice there is a gap between leadership and actually communicating with your audiences, right? Because for me, it's personal that global women stories change the world. I have worked with a couple of entrepreneurs, and guess what? Many of these entrepreneurs normally come to me as a last resort because they have pitched their businesses in front of investors, and the investors are like, okay, cool, your business is really nice and interesting, but you haven't told us about yourself. And then they end up missing on huge investment opportunities because remember, the investors are people. The investors need to know the people behind these businesses. What are their values? How did they build this business? What really inspired them or frustrated them to start this business? What really inspires them to solve these problems? So as an entrepreneur, especially if you're looking to seek investors, if you leave yourself out of your business pitch, you are likely to miss out on huge investment opportunities because the investors, who are human beings, don't know who you are. Fine, they get your business, the mechanics of it all makes sense, but what also makes sense is you. You are the person who's pitching this business. So if you leave yourself out of the pitches, then you won't have a personality that will win over these investors, because investors want to know 360 of your business, and that includes you. So don't leave yourself out of these business pitches. 2, people normally come to me as a last resort when they have missed out on, let's say, scholarship applications. Why? They go through those interviews, very rigorous interviews, and in the end they submit those interviews. And what do these the interview managers say? It's really amazing what you want to do, it's really amazing what you've pitched, but we don't know who you are. We don't know why this is personal to you. We don't know why what this application or scholarship application actually means to you. So because of that, and we really don't know how your personality, we can't really give you this scholarship application. We can't really give you this scholarship, or we can't give you this opportunity. You see how people are missing out. They are missing out because they believe that when you just send something that sounds good, the mechanics, and leave yourself out, then you have a higher chance. But it actually works against you. People want to know, what does this scholarship mean to you? How will it change your life? And that is an impact story they are looking for. Scholarship schools, they always look for internship. They always look for impact stories. Why? So that they can use your story to win over more people who equally need those scholarships. Why an investor? Because an investor wants to know who you are. If they're going to invest all of their money, sweat, and tears into your business, they better know who you are, right? They are building a relationship, not just with your business, but with you, right? And then the third one is, whenever people normally come to me as a last resort when they have worked with an editor, maybe when they are trying to work on a book or something, or a speech, and then they have put on a nice looking kind of like a story, but then the editor tells them, okay, so this is how we are going to do. But then when it comes to the time for editing the book, maybe the editor or the ghostwriter tells them, no, this is not it. It's too technical. We don't know who you really are. You haven't organized your story well. Or even worse, you've literally created something that does not target your audience. Imagine putting in so many hours to write a book only to realize the book and the material you've put in actually targets the wrong audience. Can you imagine? So you don't need to make it a last resort. You can be proactive about your story by including yourself into your own story. Win over people with your personal story. Remember, on my last video, I talked about why women's stories are urgent. And the reason why I actually started this business is when I got inspired to realize that the 2008 Obama elections was actually due to the success of Obama's personal story of his search and his pursuit of equal opportunity in a country with great racial injustice. And he ended up being president because he communicated his personal story to people, carrying over that value of equal opportunity. And Americans all around believed in his story and voted for him because they equally believed in equal opportunity. So if Obama left himself out of his campaign, do you think he'd have been president? No, he wouldn't have been president, because he used his personal story to communicate what does equal opportunity look like, right? It's the same thing for you. Don't leave yourself out of your own story. The other thing I'll mention is, if you're an SME founder, your personal story is actually your secret sauce. Not so many people realize this, but do you know why so many corporates right now are reaching out to social media influencers? It's because social media influencers have personality. So these huge corporates, unfortunately, as a business grows and you become so huge as a corporate, some brands maybe have really worked well with creating literally a personality. But the reason why many big corporates reach out to social media influencers, or they reach out to brand ambassadors, is because a big corporate body is not a personality. It is not a personality. And the reason why they get brand ambassadors and social media influencers is so that they can attach their products and services to actual real personalities that you and I can connect with, that you and I can be inspired by. So imagine you're an SME founder and your personality is the winning personalities. Many SMEs actually thrive because of the personality of the founder. So if you don't welcome your personality, your story, your texture, your juiciness and your spice to your own business, then you're working against your business, because your business is a business, but it needs your personality to drive it, right? So don't leave yourself out of your own business story. Your business is depending on your personality, right? Remember when Apple was starting, it depended on the personality of Steve Jobs. When Oprah was starting out, she built her personal brand as a TV talk show host, right? So that the big brand that is on Oprah Winfrey Network depends on the personality of Oprah. There wouldn't be an Oprah Winfrey Network without Oprah. You get what I mean? There wouldn't be 44th president of United States without Barack Obama, without his story, right? There wouldn't be Becoming without Michelle, right? So that's how it works. Whatever you're starting out, especially as an SME founder, you have something that corporates don't have. You have something which corporates are struggling to build, which is a personality. So as an SME founder, realize your personality drives the business. Don't leave your story out of your own business story, right? Use it, leverage it, own it, So let me give you a quick example. Imagine if I came and told you, hey, I'm selling baby clothes. You know those WhatsApp groups where people keep just sharing all manner of products every single day, every single week, but they're not telling us much about themselves, So if somebody just keeps pushing at you product, you will disconnect because you're like, I don't need baby clothes. But then imagine if somebody tells you, hey, I started this brand, let's say baby boots. Let's say I started baby boots because I had a baby and my child was literally allergic to all of the clothes I used to buy. So I started baby boots to tailor make affordable clothing using natural fibers and natural materials for babies with sensitive skin. So I'm offering you an opportunity for your babies to actually wear clothes that do not irritate them and that actually are locally sourced and sustainably sourced. Can't you see? Like, imagine, which one would you buy? And even if I don't have a baby or a child, I will end up buying that for my sister, for my cousin, because I care about these people's babies, even though they're not my own. You get what I mean? So that's how your personal story reaches out to people. Don't just sell products, not just push products at people. Tell people the story behind it. And by telling the story behind it, they'll get to know more about you. So own your story and go beyond just pushing product and services. Tell people your story because your story is magic and it is worthy. Which brings me to the last point, right? The last point is, at the end of the day, as a coach, I notice where this is coming from. Where this is coming from is a negative mental model about yourself and your story, right? This boils down to a negative mental model about yourself. Many of us have been taught, and especially unfortunately through our very Germanic modern education systems that are not holistic, the very classroom type where the teacher tells all and the teacher knows all and the student, you know nothing. Unfortunately, we are taught that you are not unique. Many of our school systems teach us that we are not unique. There's nothing magical about us. But the reality is there's so much that is magical about us. And so realize this, I'm speaking affirmation to you. You are enough and your story is worthy. And your story, just the way it is, it does not need to be like everyone else's. And that makes it beautiful because you're offering something that no one in this universe, a context and a story that no one else in this universe can actually share. So when you come to a point where you become courageous enough to share the vulnerability in your story, maybe because this business is your bread and butter. This business is literally like me, my way of owning my voice. If you watch my previous video, I talked about how I had to fight to do what I really wanted to do, right? So maybe your business is your battle cry. Maybe your business is literally your bread and butter. Maybe your business actually started out of a disaster in your life. Talk about that. I have worked with clients who have such beautiful stories and they ended up launching foundations, launching initiatives, campaigning, doing amazing things because they finally got to a point where they owned the vulnerability in their story that then connected with their audiences, that connected to the people that they were actually trying to market to. So please realize your story is enough, you are worthy, and when you get to a point where you own your story, people connect with vulnerability more than they connect with perfection. Imagine talking to somebody who keeps just talking about how perfect their life is, how amazing they are, how everything in their life is perfect. Imagine there's a part of your brain that will disconnect because our brain that actually connects with people, it's the limbic brain which actually processes emotion. It does not even process language. It processes emotion, meaning we are constantly making emotional decisions. And that part of the brain only communicates emotion and processes emotion. and it's the decision-making part of our brain. So what language helps us connect with that decision-making part of our brain? You need to use a tool that communicates emotion, which is storytelling. Storytelling connects with the emotional part of people. You know, when you're watching that movie and you start crying immediately when that person is crying, it's because you're in sync with that part of your brain which communicates emotion. So please realize that when you get to a point where you own your story and vulnerability, it will then work for you as a strength. Vulnerability is a strength. Look at the most amazing, impactful people in this world. Their stories are so powerful because you equally know their success literally balances out with their vulnerability, with their sacrifices, with the fears, with the things they had to overcome, right? So vulnerability is your strength. Believe in yourself. Start talking real and raw about your story. Even myself, till today, yes, I'm celebrating 5 years at Let's, but I'm even as a storyteller and as a human being, I'm continuing to evolve. Every story has its time, and there are some stories which are mature, which are ready to be told. And when I tell them authentically, right? Don't let anyone hold you hostage from sharing your story in its authentic self, right? Maybe some people aren't ready to share their stories, but when you are ready, tell your story and honor yourself and honor that inner calling, because there's somebody out there who's waiting to hear that story and learn that it is possible for them as well, right? Do not play small with your story. Play big. Tell people really why you started that business. Why was it important? What was at stake? What were the stakes? Were the stakes high? What were you going to lose if you didn't start? What were you going to win if you started, right? Walk people through this journey of your business, because when you tell your story authentically, fiercely, fearlessly, and with all of the texture and the magic that it holds, guess what? People are going to vouch for you. People are going to want to see you win in this story. They are like, wow, she started this so that children can no longer have irritation on their skin. Wow, he's running for president because of equal opportunity, and there's never been a black president in this country. Wow, you know, whatever it is that your story and the vulnerability holds, it's like you're inviting people to join your tribe and vouch for you. And it is possible. It has happened for you. It has happened for many people out there. It's happened for me. It can happen for you too. So realize, vulnerability is your strength, and it helps people connect with you, believe in you, and want you to win, right? So I hope that this answers your question as to why your business can actually thrive, how you can actually empower your business using your personal story. And there's never been a more delicious time for storytelling than now, because the world has been brought to its knees and its feet, and people suddenly realize that we have so much more in common with our vulnerabilities than we thought. So start sharing your story in its beautiful, authentic self, one story at a time, one day at a time. At some point, you will look back and you'll be like, wow, I did it. And I told my story. And my business is successful because I invited myself and my authenticity into it. Okay? So that's all for today. This is Let's with Ayuma, where I'm empowering progressive women from all around the world, just like you and I, to thrive with purpose. Remember, if you have a question regarding storytelling and how to bring yourself into your story, I offer feminine leadership coaching, which is obviously, it helps you be the leading lady of your life and your story and your business, how to align yourself with your story, your business, and your story, how to be, how to be courageous, how to be confident, how to be collaborative with these stories. Please reach out to me and I will sort you out. Reach out to letsfindyourstory.com/services. Check out feminine leadership and other services that I do offer. Whichever rings a bell and whichever floats your boat, please reach out to me, and I'd be more willing to set up a complimentary interview call to figure out what your challenge is and start coaching you and serving you. Okay? Because it is urgent for me for your story to thrive and for your story to transform this world. Okay? So please comment below. What rings a bell? Is there something that really stood out about what I shared today? please comment below and I'll be more than happy to respond and also learn from you. Okay? So please remember to like, comment, and to subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video. This is Let's with Ayuma, where I'm empowering you, the global progressive woman just like me, from all around the world to thrive with purpose. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.